Good fucking morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Proof of Person. Happy fucking Wednesday. Today we have Ray with us for episode 38, founder of P.O.P. Ray, thank you for joining the show, running it back from the last time we were here in October. How are you doing today? So much has changed, so much to talk about today. How's everything?
I am doing amazing. Although it's crazy times in the world, I'm doing wonderful, and it feels amazing to be back. And I never get used to how energetic you start the podcast, man.
Love it, man. No, we have to start with a high tone. It sets a vibe for the rest of the episode. So always high energy.
It's amazing.
I'm glad you're vibing with it. So we would have a problem otherwise. But yeah, man. So glad you're doing good. It's a crazy time in the world. Unfortunately, many things that we cannot control, but what we can, we try to. So at least we're here, trying to stay safe, doing what we can, and just working forward. How's everything? It feels like we're so back in the market after 2 green days. It's been very weird. Everyone's screaming bear market, Info5 dead, like so much going on. How's everything on your side? Well, we'll get first through your TLDR. Everyone knows you pretty well, but just in case someone doesn't, your backstory, your origin story, your coding when you were a kid, still the era as detailed as you want it to be, for everyone to know you a little bit better. That'll be great.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man. To tell a little bit about myself, I started coding when I was 12. Around the same time, I got into a competition, a game development competition, with university students and people a lot older than me, and I won that. And that kind of sparked something in me. I started a game studio. I started providing game development services. That company scaled into a product studio. Long story short, we worked with a lot of larger enterprises to help them come to Web3, but also build enterprise software solutions. And nowadays we use the same skill set we used to build over 100 products throughout all these years to turn it into a venture studio. So now we co-build software products with people who have distribution. That could be an audience, that could be a community, that could be a large brand. And yeah, we've had the privilege of working with a lot of big names. We've worked with Forbes, Starbucks, Under Armour, Miss Universe. So yeah, more than happy to be here. And it indeed is exciting times, man. The market, well, the interesting thing about the market is whether it goes up or down, our job stays the same. So we never really care about the market situation. And I kind of like it when things are mellow, because we can spot more opportunities.
Yeah, you can really see who's here building, regardless of what's happening in the market. The more long-term has been positioned for a while. There's way less noise in general, not only because Info5 died, but also, yeah, you can see the people that are showing up every day. P.O.P has been around for a few years, so just another day, another week, another month, nothing changes. But yeah, you've always had that drive ever since you were a kid, right? Like if you can, starting to code at 12 and like winning competitions back then to building yourself today, it's such an incredible journey. And I think you have one of the most fascinating stories in Web3, to leading to what you are today. We talked about it a little bit on the last episode, but in case people missed it, or just a refresher, like how has that transition been from when you started the journey to today? I know you mentioned a lot of being relentless, believing in yourself, but if you can share more about it as well for the audience.
Yeah, 100%. So starting coding as a kid, of course, as you can expect, I wasn't as good as all these university students and people who have been coding for years. I was just a kid. And I had to think a little bit outside the box to figure out how to win those competitions and how to push forward. So actually thinking outside the box and really seeing the bigger picture helped me a lot, because everybody was focusing back then on the technology piece, especially in the competitions. They wanted to build the best game, but I never wanted to build the best game. I just wanted to build the game that would win. And I kind of worked my way backwards from what would be a game that would win. And that ended up being a game that would kind of impact the jury, the people who would decide which game is the winner. And I realized there's these hot topics that everybody seems to care about, from water to global warming to a specific species of an animal getting extinct. So actually, that was the initial game that I built around a specific species of an animal going
The
extinct.
leopard, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So and that ended up winning the competition, because our game was very janky. By no means we had the best game, but the concept was good enough for people to care and deem us the winners. And then I realized a lot of people kind of think about it backwards. Like, especially these days, working with a lot of founders and building these joint products, a lot of people come to us and ask for a specific product with specific features. And my first question is going to be, okay, but where's the demand? Do you have the distribution? And that's the reason our whole business is shaped around the distribution, because what at the end of the day realistically matters with you building a product is not the product existing. It's going to be the distribution and how well you can sell it.
Yeah, from like the calls that you have with clients, and it can be a broader number, doesn't have to be specific, but like, how many do you decline or say no to because they don't have the clarity or obviously the distribution, but like a set goal or a clear mind of where they want their product to go? Like, how many will you say? Do you react 5 out of 10, or not that many, or less? Like, what's the ratio, more or less?
Yeah, so I would say we end up only working with 20% of the people that we start conversations with.
Wow.
And the reason for that is we have specific criterias of how these products should be formed in order for them to work. First and foremost, you shouldn't target specific. If you're getting too detailed about your idea, that's a fail. If you're getting too into the nits of I have this much competition, that's gonna fail. At the end of the day, what we care about is the distribution piece. I look at products very simply. You have the product piece itself. We're amazing at doing products from A to Z, taking them from A to Z. So that piece is solved by us. There's the distribution piece, which means selling the product. And then there's the funding and capital, which would be the firing powder that we use for this whole process to work. So if those pieces exist, you're going to have a successful business. You're going to have revenue from day one. Like that's our goal with every single product that we do is, can this product have revenue from day one? And working backwards from there, if somebody comes to us without the distribution, that's a no. If somebody comes to us saying, hey, I need to sign an NDA, I'm like, we have a list of 1,000 ideas. I'll bet you $100 your idea is going to be amongst them. Yeah, it's really not about the idea, neither about the competition. It's just you have to work your way backwards on what business is going to generate revenue, and that's going to be something that you already know you can sell.
Right. Yeah. No. It's in as well mainly on solving problems. People just sometimes want to build for the sake of it or without a purpose. And yeah, it's a very easy no. As you were saying, like 20% of the clients, you take them, the rest you don't. But yeah, like everybody wants to make money in general, but more now in the market when it seems a little bit slower and like bear market and not as many opportunities as it was before, or noises at least as well. But what would you suggest for people that don't have the distribution to just contact you guys more along the line of once they do, like in a few months down in the future? Or did you recommend them to another studio or someone that can help them build that foundation, that audience? Like, what's the process when it doesn't fit directly into the initial call with you guys?
So nowadays we're looking at internalizing some distribution as well. So acquiring media brands in order for us to kind of build in that distribution within our company. So we know if we build certain products, we already have the audience to push it out. But realistically, I think what people need to know is that distribution is the key pillar to running any sort of business. If you have an agency, you need to have a community that in there people trust you. If you want to build a product, you need to have the initial customers. It's definitely a lot of grunt work. If you look at the successful startups out there, a lot of them started by somebody really doing the grunt work on getting the initial user base interested into the product. And that's going to be at the end of the day what matters most. You hate that distribution, whether it's cold outreach to people, or it's going on Reddit forums and seeing people who have the same problem and contacting them saying, hey, if I solve this problem, would you use it? Would you pay for it? How much would you pay for it? So yeah, really working your way backwards. Like I do this. I still, if I have an idea, before I bring it to anybody, I contact 5 to 10 people. It could be people that I already know, or I could be cold outreaching on LinkedIn saying, hey, I do this. I have this idea. Do you think it would be interesting as a product, and would you use it or not? So it's a lot of grunt work, and it's not easy, but at the end of the day, you have to work your way backwards. I know people who actually start by creating content, start by having the content go viral, and then after they kind of act like the product exists, and once they see the demand and the attention coming to them, they actually start building it, which I think is realistically the smart way to do it. You already know people would pay for it before you even put a dollar in building it. And as developing products is getting more and more commoditized, it's not going to be about building the product anymore. It's always going to be about the distribution. So I think just putting your eggs in the basket of figuring out the best way you could acquire distribution is going to be a high leverage play.
Yeah, and you mentioned about the like getting feedback. Do you have several focus groups or like 5, 10 people circles that you like categorize by industry, or is it always the same group because you know their experience, they're knowledgeable, they've been through a lot of Web3 experiences in industry as well in the Web2? Like, how are you selecting these people, and are they rotating based on the product?
Yeah, they typically rotate based on the product. We end up getting more involved with products that we know we can add a little bit of an extra leverage to the game as well by providing our own distribution. So if we know we have specific communities that we use the product, that's going to be even more of an interesting concept for us to look into. Nowadays, DeFi, Gamblify remains still the focus for us in Web3 because those are the revenue generating products. Revenue generating has always been our focus. One of the hot takes I have is we always try to avoid pushing tokens with our products because we just care about the revenue. If you want longevity, yeah. And I know this is gonna piss a lot of people off, by the way, but yeah,
part of it.
But I mean, at the end of the day, we have our own distribution channels that we could tap into. If it's a B2C product, we might work with other partners to validate the ideas. It's a mix. But all our scenario doesn't ever change, where the founder needs to come to us with that first 5 to 10 users, because those are going to be your quote unquote design partners. Those are going to be your power users. Those are going to be the people who give you the feedback. Like, what is going to happen after we have this product? Are you really going to just wait till you find those initial people to go and have tests? I don't think that's going to be really a high leverage way to look at it. You have to have those people lined up and ready to start testing the product as soon as it's ready.
And it's such an interesting concept as well. And I can't remember who tweeted about it a few weeks ago. I mean, it's nothing new, but like it was something like binary metrics are cool and all, but it's not it doesn't mean that it translates to conversion or like people actually buying what you're selling. And it's so true as well on X and in every social, like you can inflate your numbers, but how many people are actually loyal to you and loyal to what you're offering, especially maybe and taking KOLs as an example, like with so many paid posts, and maybe they don't fit the meta or like whatever the product is. So what do you think has been the key differentiator between someone that has the actual signal and conversion versus just noise and inflated metrics?
Um, well, I think at the end of the day, um, it comes down to the user experience with the product piece. Assuming you have enough awareness and attention around the product and you have that initial distribution, what would differentiate you from somebody who actually converts those users into the end customer would be the user experience. Nobody cares about what chain they're using. Nobody cares about what token they're using. At the end of the day, the only thing people care about is going to be the user experience, and that's I would argue that's the highest leverage and the most important part to focus on when building your product. You shouldn't really focus on building something shiny with a lot of features. I think building something with 3 features that has an amazing user experience outlasts a product that has 100 features but with an awful user experience.
Yeah, I think well, now more than ever, just it seems like we're going more into simpler, well, faster, obviously, very quickly accelerating through AI. But you also mentioned about it could be done in 4 hours, but it's going to be rebuilt by a person or like in a few months, which I want to ask more on that as well. But yeah, simpler, faster, and that's also why I think like the whole market pivoted to blast, to abstract, to mega ETH, to monad, at least temporarily. But like where the money was going, like people flow towards that, right? But eventually, yeah, the one that is building long term and has sustainability is where people eventually go back to or end up in. But yeah,
and
sorry.
I was just gonna say, and I would argue, I think the capital helps. One thing that we have in Web3 that there's a big lack of in other industries is just the velocity of money that we have access to in Web3. You can raise funding very fast. You can build a financial product very fast. You could acquire users that are paying very fast. But then the issue becomes, have you really focused on the user experience of what you're building? I would say if you could figure out a way to capitalize the funding that exists in Web3, but build an experience that even your typical Web2 users would be able to jump on, that's going to be the real point where you could have a massive product. And at the end of the day, Web3 is a very small industry. We kind of live in a bubble, especially with crypto Twitter. But it's enough to validate a product and get it to revenue generation. But yeah, it's important how to pick the specific pieces. Like, don't build your whole product around Web3. Especially nowadays when the markets go down, a lot of people realize there's only a few types of products that would work, and also there's only revenue that lasts. Like, your token is not going to save you when the markets go to shit.
Yeah, you're gonna be cooked with it. But yeah, even like last time that we were in the show, that you were on the show as well a few months ago, we were talking about prediction markets, and you were mentioning talking about selling the shovels, and like many clients wanting a prediction market and then changing to something else or something with AI agents, and then InfoFi, like just pivoting into the next trend, the next shiny object. But if you're rushing towards, you're already late. Do you normally give this insight on intro calls to potential clients? I'm sure you do, but do they get pissed? Do they appreciate the transparency, the feedback? How does it go when they hit the wall and they were expecting to just go through with you and whatever they were selling, pretty much?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, because our interest is also vested in the product, and we have equity in the products that we work on, it's in our best interest to not work on the products that wouldn't work.
Yep.
So we tend to be very honest about our idea and our feedback on the product. A lot of times the issue becomes the founder gets obsessed around specific features, specific ways to build out the product. And at the end of the day, looking at it from a bird's eye view, it doesn't really matter. You just have to listen to the users and uh, go towards what makes sense. So yeah, we try to be as honest as possible. If an idea in our eyes wouldn't work, we just say we don't see how this could work, and we don't get involved with it.
Yeah, no, easier, less problems as well. Have you guys always operated that way? Like you get equity from the products that you co-build? I mean, the more you get involved, as you were saying, like the more, well, the better transparency, the better feedback, and like you're building together with them. Has it always been like that, or do you transition into this model into, I don't know, in the 30th product out of the 100 plus that you built, or was it from the beginning?
Yeah. Yeah, so it used to be a product studio model. Bruce used to essentially run a dev shop. So we would sell our services as technology providers, but then we realized there's specific missing pieces when you're selling your service there, and also you don't have any upside when the products become successful. So as we start to grow, we start to understand what works, what doesn't with the products that we're building, and especially the founders that we were working with. And we kind of built up that experience. And as we saw development itself is getting more commoditized, AI came, it got easier. I would argue development, selling your development services is going on a downward spiral. So the way we repositioned ourselves was we now understand how to make a product that would make money. We now understand what are the moving pieces. We now understand what to expect from the founder who gets involved. So let's co-invest with the founder into building the product. Let's take equity because the upside is going to be increased for us as well. So now we run a venture studio. We handle the A to Z of building the product and essentially the operational pieces. And the founder essentially just has to go out and sell it, bring the distribution on the product. And that's been our model for the past 3.5 years. And it's been going very well. We're now in talks with a lot of VCs because they realize they don't have that much control or oversight through their portfolio companies. And looking at the venture studio model, it's interesting to them because you have equity essentially similar to the venture capital model, but you have a lot more control and say over what products make it and how they need to operate and so on and so forth. So it's becoming more interesting to venture capital firms. Now a couple of family offices are also looking into building their own venture studios, which we're getting involved with. And our positioning is nice because we got involved into the venture studio game quite early. 3-4 years ago, there wasn't a lot of venture studios actually building the products and looking at it from that lens. So we're in a nice position where a lot of VC firms, family offices come to us, and we have a lot of answers to the questions that we kind of A/B tested throughout these years. We just try to optimize and de-risk the process of building a product as much as possible. We take 3 to 6 projects every year. And those 3 to 6 projects are essentially things that we fully focus on. Now we're potentially looking at scaling it more, setting up structures to scale it more, and so on and so forth. But with the venture studio, we try to de-risk the whole process as fast and as much as we can. So we have capital partners if we need funding. We only work with people who have distribution because we know they're going to be able to sell the product and bring revenue on day one. And we have our in-house user experience team that fully focuses on the user experience of the product rather than just building something janky and then iterating on it, which is also a way to go about it. I'm not opposed to it, but like the fully scaled version of what we're able to offer is going to be get involved from the idea phase, working with your existing potential clients even to understand what they need, how much they would pay for it, and then design the product around that, design an amazing user experience, build it out, and take it out there. So that's the ideal life cycle of a project for us. We work very fast as well, so we try to spin out an MVP quite fast, get feedback on it from the founder, then push it out to a closed beta, get feedback from the initial 5 to 10 clients, and then go to public beta. So that's the whole model. Of course, it changes a little bit based on a case by case basis, but yeah, that's the general model.
Brilliant. Holy shit. So good. So many questions. Let me try to gather my thoughts. I think you explained it pretty well, but very curious about last time we spoke. I don't know how's the headcount these days, but you had 35 plus devs and like a hub leader per region. Are you guys still around that number? Have you expanded? And like connected question, how do you keep that team like motivated? You mentioned as well last time that they were always like overperforming, like going 110% every day. How do you compensate them, incentivize them? You were also looking for a $1 million dev, like all of these variables. Like, how do you keep your team at maximum capacity and happy and motivated that they want to always do their best?
So I would say with respect to motivating people, there's 3 aspects to it, especially with a model similar to ours. There's going to be the just safety of the job and having something interesting to work on, which is one aspect of it. The second part is the potential upside, and the third part is making them understand that what they're doing matters. So I think those 3 parts, if you can nail them, you have a motivated team. So our developers are actually part owners in the equity that we get from every product. So if a product ends up being successful, they're going to end up making a lot of money as well. That's one piece of it. The second piece is because of the nature of our work, they end up working on a lot of interesting projects. They end up understanding a lot of these problems, and they scale as individuals because they can solve different problems and new problems every day. Our expectation from a developer is not to just code something and leave it, is to build something and then understand what problem it's solving and really build a solution to that problem rather than coding a specific type of project. So I think a combination of those 3 pillars together and just bringing deal flow, then that the ball on that would be in our court to just bring the deal flow and bring interesting projects and then filter out the non-interesting ones would be what keeps people motivated. Now we're a little bit more. We're now 40 people, but
Nice.
not trying to scale much beyond this point. And yeah, back in the day we had a time where we were between like 60 to 70 people, and it was not ideal.
Yeah.
We want to keep the team lean. We know AI is just gonna, exactly, the best of the best, and we know AI is just gonna improve the performance of every single person who's involved with the process. So that's a positive for us. If we want to scale, actually, AI is gonna be able to help us scale from a performance perspective.
Yeah, no, very interesting time lately and forward. And yeah, that's great. I was thinking something like that, like like the best of the best always want a new challenge, wants to try to break a different type of code, or yeah, just try to a more creative type of solving a problem. All of these in, sometimes non-financial motivators, but also with the incentive that comes with it. Now that you mentioned with the equity, that's obviously makes a lot of sense. So that's great. And yeah, with the $1 million devs, do you still like how AI is growing and accelerating so fast lately? Do you still think like the being the like person will be a very big differentiator? Like I mean, you've been trying to be more front facing as well, be more on this podcast, on spaces, on socials, like that human touch, that human sense will always be um, a key part of the formula, right? Like it will be very difficult for AI to replace, especially talking about distribution. No, like so, what was your thought in general with AI growing so fast and people being scared in general of losing their jobs or being replaced, and some of them will obviously, but um, can be specifically for Web3 or in general your thoughts in human interaction with AI being replaced.
Yeah, I think but what is obvious is that AI is going to keep improving. So specifically in our niche, we're going to be able to one day give a specific detailed prompt about what product we want. And he even thinks about the AI could think about the edge cases and produce the product in full. And we don't have to touch it, like it just one shots a product in a perfect format. And it's even able to think through the user experience and so on and so forth with the right prompt. So we definitely have that day coming. Now the question becomes, who's going to be relevant when AI is getting improved so much that humans, especially these white collar jobs, are being fulfilled by AI. I think there's going to be two categories of people that are going to benefit from AI, and this could literally be everybody, but it requires every single person to take an extra step. Number one is people who are the best of the best at what they do. They're just going to be able to use AI to excel even further, and are going to be really at the forefront of any specific skill set, and their abilities are going to be amplified with AI indefinitely. That could be your senior super crack developer. That could be your amazing user experience designer. That could be your copywriter, and so on and so forth. So there's the top 1% skill-wise that are going to excel with AI. The junior people, the people who don't think out of the box, are just going to get replaced. And then the other category would be people who could figure out ways to leverage AI in order to help them proceed. Again, kind of similar to the first category, but these are people who understand the dynamics of business. For example, when we get to the point where you could just one shot a perfect product from a user experience, monetization, technology perspective with one single prompt, then what's going to be important is going to be your understanding of business and what problem to solve with that tool. So then your general skills and your intelligence as a human becomes very important, and how to leverage AI for that. You could even use AI to give you ideas, but again, you have to be intelligent enough to understand that you have to use AI for that. So I think people being able to think a little bit outside the box, and also understanding they need to figure out ways to leverage AI and essentially get on top of AI and the improvement process, are going to be the winners. We hear the argument of these AI models like Claude getting better is going to wipe out this product that you guys are doing. And our answer is simply no. It's just going to make the product better because we're using Claude. So if you can position yourself where your product or what you're doing is getting improved as AI is getting better, that's the cheat code. That's how you're going to survive.
Man, the day AI in any form or way get to do the token 2049 in Singapore, then we're properly screwed. Or go to Dubai for us, or like we can go in a hologram sense, like then that's where we're properly cooked. But yeah, that human connection and enhancing the abilities and the skills that the best people have, I agree that AI will just help them get there faster or in a better way or in a more creative sense. But yeah, he said from Binance as well was saying like AI agents will make millions of payments more than humans, and will be able to make way more transactions and faster and simpler, and they will be using crypto. So well, at least at the beginning. So it's going to be an very interesting time as AI agents keep growing and replacing that sense of the operation, I guess, that humans might not need to be part of anymore.
Yeah, 100%. And the interesting thing is, Claude has been existing for a while now. The recipe pieces for what we have as OpenClaw now has been existing for a while. People just didn't have it as accessible and as ready to go. But yeah, the general understanding is required for you to be able to leverage this. And yeah, if you're sitting down and just waiting for AI to take your job, or you're just sitting down worrying about AI taking your job, you're probably gonna have your job taken by AI. So
yep, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be inevitable. Yeah, these also like where networking and the actual personal connection with people, the loyalty from an audience, and your loyal following comes to play, and it's very important. As that could be replaced by a lot of AI agents eventually, but definitely not right now. So, and that's also what you focus a lot when we're making products that generate.
Yeah, 100%.
These tweets that you did about the stripping AI from the product, are you getting more and more people just coming with the idea built by AI, and then do you trying to split it apart and saying like what is the actual product with AI?
The main thing is a lot of people, my days these times look like the Samsung presentation, where it's like 55 times saying AI in the presentation.
God. Yeah, like blockchain back in the day that they just ripped exactly. on every deck.
Exactly. But the main thing is, when we're presented with a quote unquote AI product, we always try to work our way backwards. Is AI actually adding value to the problem you're trying to solve? Would you be able to solve it without having AI in it? Like a massive pushback that I have a lot of times with products that come to us is they just want AI somewhere in there. And like, if you think it will look good on your decks, sure, put AI. We'll put an open AI API somewhere. But at the end of the day, you have to solve a problem, and that problem could be either solved with AI or without AI. It doesn't really matter, as long as you're solving the problem. So you don't have to make a product that is solving a problem with AI. You just have to solve a problem. And that's something that people forget about.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. Just solving problems and making people's lives easier or better in a new way. From Web3, which do you think have the best? Who do you think is using the best AI in the best way? It could be projects, or it could be people. There's a lot of people that pretend to be using it efficiently, but I don't think they are. But anyone that you know that is publicly sharing about it or not, that you know they're doing it well?
I'm just gonna take a
or if you cannot disclose it, then that's fine. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but realistically, a lot of people are very vocal about using AI. But at the end of the day, if you look at what they're doing with AI, it's just slop. They're vibe coding stuff that will never either see the light of day or be actually used in their workflows or people's workflows. A lot of people think people could just one shot nowadays. People could just build, they don't have to pay for SaaS, and they could just build a quote unquote SaaS with AI and just use that, but they don't realize they have to maintain it and improve it and adjust it and so on and so forth. So that's a misrepresentation of how people look at that. A lot of people just build something like, I built this agent that scans the market and tells me what's the best bet to make. Then don't make a post about it, just go make the bets and become a billionaire. It's just not the way people present it. The best people that I've seen using AI are actually using it to improve their own workflows. They don't need to be flashy about it. They do it for the purpose of doing research. They do it to per program and improve their already existing processes. They're using WhisperFlow to kind of put a structure to their thoughts and turn that into a text. Simple stuff like that. Yeah, like a lot of people overcomplicate it. It's interesting because nowadays you could just pop up a product, pop up like Lovable or something, and just build a shell of a product very fast. And that's very good. Like that helps us a lot, actually. People come to us with a specific idea, and that helps us understand how in their eyes that product should look like. And then it's going to become our job to make it look a little bit better, have a better user experience, make suggestions, and actually turn it into a product. That's amazing. But if somebody is trying to build the product himself and then failing and coming to us with something that is like 60% done in their eyes, that actually requires a lot more effort to turn it into an actual product than what they think. So people use AI in a lot of cases inefficiently. Just have to understand that you need to use it on things that you're good at. You can't just become a developer, or you can't just become somebody who pops out a product using AI. Of course, at some point, AI is going to catch up and you're going to be able to do something a lot more efficient with it. But even at that time, there's so much that goes around building a product, for example, that people don't see, that it just misrepresents how, like, your best bet is to use AI in what you're good at to be even better at it. That's, like, simply put, what you need to do with AI.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, like, what do you think is the best advice in that sense, like, on how to use AI on your day to day? But you pretty much just answered it. But yeah, like, there's so much noise and so many people trying and even sharing that they're improving in a way. But it's always, as always, with everything, like the 1% that are actually successful in the experimenting and advancing in what they're doing and improving their workflow or their outcomes, and the rest, they are just wasting their time mainly, even though it might seem that they're progressing. Most probably they're not, but part of the process. And as well, another quote that you said last episode when we were here. What was it, like? You will try 1,000 times and one will hit, and that's the one that you need. Something like that. Paraphrasing, but
Exactly.
yeah, just I mean, definitely worth keeping experimenting and trying new things.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I think understanding that AI is a superpower is very important. But being smart about it is even more important. Now you've done the bare minimum. You know you need to use AI. Now you need to understand where to use AI to bring the most value to your workflows and what you're doing. So I would argue, if you could just use AI and not get distracted about all these flashy things that you can do with AI, that you'll do 70% of, and that the rest of the 30% is never going to get done. Just use it to do what you do best.
100% agree. And I mean, the clipping meta, like, and distribution, um, uh, just in general in socials, to multiple audiences. Do you think, like, clipping needs to be used in AI? Do you think it's better if a person manually edits and clips a whole episode, what has been, I mean, you guys started Clipper, obviously won the TLDR on that, and what do you think has worked best in sense of Clipper, connected with AI or not? And if you can just tell the audience more about this new endeavor.
Yeah, 100%. So Clipper focuses on creating essentially a new distribution channel for brands, because a lot of brands have their core contents being created, but then turning those into clips that are going viral on social media, which is single-handedly the language of social media nowadays. People are literally scrolling through clips nowadays. That's the way they communicate. So being able to leverage that becomes very important for a brand. And we built Clipper with the thought of being able to add a massive leverage on the distribution for a brand, a product that has a core piece of content, and we turn that into clips and share it on social media. So that's what Clipper does. But the difference is, a lot of people try to do it. WOP tried to do it. Not gonna name too much names, but the failure was the quality of the clippers themselves. So the quality of the outcome, the videos that get posted, and how they're treated after they're posted, they get botted, and so on and so forth. That became the real hurdle. Nobody really focuses on the brands. Nobody focuses on how we can make the experience as good as possible for you, the brand. So we now with Clipper put our whole entire life around making the brand's experience as smooth as possible, making them actually convert, and creating clips that would actually be able to take over the timeline. And we don't limit it to only Web3. We started with Web3, we started with X, but now we are on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So it's way further than that. There are some brands that I can't disclose. They're massive. There's two drinking brands that you can think of in the world that are very big, and one of them is going to be coming to Clipper very soon. So yeah, there's like a whole Web2 angle around it. But at the end of the day, we try to essentially add a massive leverage on the distribution side for a brand to be able to actually take over timelines. And then later we could go to the UGC part and so on and so forth. With respect to the AI being able to clip, I don't think right now it's at an amazing position for that. In the future, it definitely will get improved. And similarly to every other product that we have, we'll be using AI to improve our product. We'll be using AI within our Clippers processes. Then the jobs of the top Clippers that we have in the product, which are all vetted and are the best of the best, we're going to pick the top 5% of those. And those are going to be the people who would be using AI to generate these clips, because their workflow is going to get a lot smoother, and then just adding their experience on top of it. So that's going to be the way that we leverage AI in this scenario. Yes, AI is going to get a lot better at doing clipping than what it is now, and we're going to leverage it. So that's the way that we look at it. And yeah, it's just simply put an amazing distribution hack that we're going to be using a lot for our own products, our clients, our friends, our brands. This is literally kind of the talk of the town for us whenever we get into a conversation.
So excited, yeah. And like it's been odd because I mean, clipping has been growing a lot lately, and it's not gonna stop it. As you were saying, like we're scrolling through clips lately. I remember, like, I've been streaming for almost a year, but like in Q4 there were a few people that reached out to me like, hey, can I clip your streams? And I was like, you can do whatever you want. But more people were attempting to clip and like to experiment to see if it was their thing. I think most of those just gave up because it's not that easy as people might seem, especially if you cannot integrate AI completely, and you need that culture, that sense of like what is a good clip and what isn't, and that virality identity, to call it something. Like it's, you need to know, you need to have the skills and the experience, and I'm sure the better clippers that you were saying have that understanding.
Yeah.
So
100%. we're actually gonna have a campaign live on this podcast in Clipper. So
Ooh,
if
let's
you're
go.
if you're if you're a Clipper in Clipper, then let's cook. If you're not, apply and show us why you could be one of the killers, and we could look at getting you in.
Well, you should, yeah. What do you think of quality over quantity, or do you think quality and quantity is the best combination? Like a good clipper should be doing, I don't know, 3 to 5 clips per day, 10, 15, or two, like, but a really, really good ones with a high potential to go viral. Like, what do you think is the best mix?
I mean, we're trying to figure this out ourselves as well. As we run more campaigns. We're trying to kind of look back at the data and see what actually works. So far, what I see is being able to produce enough where you could have learnings on your clips and then improve on your further clips. I always tell this to my friends who want to do content, who even are clippers, to improve what you're doing 1% every day. And the power of compound is real. Like if you end up improving your content that you're putting out there 1% every day, if you end up improving your business 1% every day, if you end up improving yourself 1% every day, you're going to be at a very different position a year from now. So I think if you can produce enough quantity where you can look back and see what worked, what didn't, and take your learnings and push it to the next one, whether it's changing the quality of the audio, adding sound effects, positioning the text differently, so on and so forth. That's going to be the best combination. So I would argue combining those would actually make the most amount of sense.
Yeah, I just remember there was this study that there was two groups of people, and one was said like do the perfect pot, and the other one was make 1,000 pots. And the ones that make 1,000 pots was way better because they failed more, they experimented more, they got more creative. So I do agree the mix of both is the best way to go, and you learn a lot in the process as well. Instead of just trying to make the perfect clip, volume and failing and experimenting will get you there faster and better in the long term as well. So
100%.
definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
a good mix, and in their own style. Like people, there's no one way for every clipper. Like everyone has their own way of doing things. So it's very interesting how there's a few clippers that are standing out in the timeline. And Jack, the one that helps Shred Guy as well, like starting clipping Mr. Beast, and he's doing very, very well. You mentioned that you guys are expanding as well to Web 2 and other media. So man, it's gonna get super, super interesting.
Yeah, like right now we're talking with news outlets, with TV channels, with what two
That's great.
streamers, with yeah, it's just with sports companies. Like there's so much opportunity um, to to take on, and you have to think like this is one of the scenarios we used Web3 as kind of the quote unquote validation market for this product, and now we're expanding to Web 2 and all these other markets. We didn't start this product saying, hey, let's do a clipping product, and let's just like launch a token and see what it does. We try to actually build a product, get feedback, improve on it, and we're still doing it. Like the product by no means is perfect. It has a lot of flaws. We we're the first people who see those flaws. We have a very massive backlog of things that we could improve on, do, and so on and so forth. But the main thing is seeing the bigger picture, prioritizing what matters to our top clients, and then attacking those. So yeah, that's. I mean, at the end of the day, at this stage where we are at with Clipper, where we're seeing kind of hyper growth and hyper interest in the product, now it becomes how do we make the best decision every single day in order to go take the next step.
Yeah, and I mean, you already worked with Jupiter, Pump, Sig, Camp, very, very big brands, very trustworthy in the space. And I'm sure they all have different targets and different objectives, and you can be flexible towards that. Do you normally allocate, like, is it a campaign and every clipper has a chance to perform with that client, or are you selecting a few of them and allocating them towards that? Like, how does it work for partners?
So right now we're A/B testing the model a lot as well.
Okay.
But currently the way it works is the clippers submit their clips.
Mhm.
We have to approve them first to make sure the quality is up to the standards that we want, and then they go out and run it and push it out there. So we kind of do a first iteration of kind of filtering out first, and then we push them out just to ensure the quality. But we're A/B testing with that. We'll see. We'll see what we land on as the highest performing way to do this. But what we found is either way, doing clipping is a lot more converting than not doing clipping.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone's attention span is fried, so like 20 seconds instead of 2 hours is definitely better.
Yeah, exactly. Like if like within the time span of this podcast, where we spent an hour and a half in the podcast, then there's not that many people that have enough attention span to actually sit through this and listen to it. If you do, you're a legend. Thank you for being here. But yeah, at the
Shout out
end of
to
the day,
Melorog. Sorry, he's on the comments. He's been here the whole year, the whole stream. So shout out Melorog, Scorpion,
shout out.
and Buddy, and a few others. We appreciate you. Sorry, I cut you off.
Hell yeah, no, all good. Shout out. And yeah, exactly. Like there's not that many people that have a solid enough attention span to sit through a conversation like this. So clipping is definitely going to be, and man, the CPMs are insane. It's just like
Crazy.
the money, the worth you get for your every single dollar is just immaculate right now. And I don't know how long this is going to last. Like I remember there was a day where running ads on Facebook was the hot thing because nobody else was doing it. Running ads on Google was the hot thing because you could get users for cents. So nobody else was doing it. You had a massive leverage. Like people who realized that have literally billion-dollar businesses now. And now looking at clipping, it's just insane how much value you're getting for every single dollar you're putting in. And I don't know how long this will last, how the industry will form and shape, how social media feeds will form and shape. But right now, as we speak, this is like a blatant, like insane hack. Like there's nothing to compare it with.
I agree. It's by far the best until the next thing comes in. But so far, I don't know. Maybe it's gonna be 5-second clips after this, or 2-second clips. Like who knows? TikTok is like frying everyone's brain as well on the process. But yeah, I agree that it's one of the hottest, if not the hottest thing right now, and that's why people are trying to jump on it. I was gonna ask something else. I forgot. Damn it. But anyways, I think we're bit over. Oh no, yeah. That you mentioned about the hour of the stream. Like, man, it's been such an incredible conversation, and we could stay here for hours. But it's a very different perspective. Obviously, if you're talking and completely engaged versus just listening and on a passive, maybe you're multitasking or doing something else. Like, I don't think I could stay for a whole stream of looking at, or I don't know, like somewhat like for Adam Weissman. Maybe I could, but like it's a lot of time that you can maybe be multitasking, or that you just might be just waiting for the clips and the main highlights. So again, big shout out to the ones that do stay. We appreciate you, but it's okay if you don't. We'll post a lot of clips anyway, so that's also the good part. I mean, we're over the hour, man. Just one last question, and we start closing. Like, for anyone thinking of building something big and ambitious in Web3, what would you think would your best advice, or the best way to go for them, breaking it down or starting somewhere? What's your best advice?
So I would give a more general advice in building a product now as we speak. The second that we're recording this podcast, you have a lot of leverage. We have a lot of leverage, and a lot of other people have that leverage with building the product itself. You have to do this. if you have knowledge around a specific industry, you can look back at what people you know, what people you have distribution to, or what industries do you understand and do you understand the problems for. Go in there, pick a problem to solve, and then start chatting with people that you either already know, or you have to go out and reach out to people to validate the idea first, and get them interested into your potential solution, saying, hey, if I built this solution to your problem, would you pay for it? How much would you pay for it? So that's going to be the first step. Another form of that, if you're looking to build a B2C application, for example, for consumers, is going to be posting content about it, and seeing how much people interact with it, and how much people engage with it that are interested. Going on Reddit, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, there's a billion places for you to go to. But you have to figure out if there's going to be demand for that product or not, if there's going to be existing users lined up for that product or not. Second step is going to be able to kind of draw up, you could use AI, you could use AI. You need to use AI to kind of come up with the general draft of how you want that solution to be positioned. And you could actually take it out to your potential customers and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. This is going to be the product. Would this be interesting to you or not? And then bringing that to a partner, I would argue these days, having somebody who can understand user experience and hyper focus on the user experience is very important. So having somebody form that into an immaculate user experience, especially if you're building something for consumers, but also if you're building something for businesses, is going to be very important. And then going out and building it. Essentially, you need to have your distribution first. You need to know, if I push this out there, how much money I'm going to make on day one. Like if you can answer me that question, you're going to make it. Your product's going to make it. And I'm not talking about hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars, but you've successfully cracked the code of going from 0 to 1. And that is knowing how many people you've lined up to start using your product. And I think that's single-handedly the biggest leverage you could have. How you do that, you need to be a little bit creative. You need to use social media. You need to go out there, create videos. You need to put yourself out there in order to get that initial distribution, if you don't have it already. If you do have an existing distribution, if you have a group of people that you have access to, and they're in a specific category, you are a lucky person. You just have to come contact us for
hey, we got you.
For us to have a conversation and see what problem we could solve for them, and what product we could co-build together to take it out there. But yeah, distribution is just simply put the highest leverage that you have.
It's such a unique approach, or at least I haven't heard it, and it's so simple and so perfect of like, how much do you want to make? But like, I'm sure like it's a conversation stopper for most. You're like, what do you mean, like $1 million? Or but if they don't have an idea, I can understand how you guys are like, all right, never mind. But like, what do you think, just a follow-up question on that as well, like what do you think is the main driver, or like how do people know the exact revenue? It's like they already saw the whole project and they just need you guys for the product building pretty much. No, like they have the whole vision, they just need help with a bit of the execution and creating the product, right? Would you say that's the main thing, or what would you see is the difference from a founder that does know the exact revenue versus someone that has no idea?
Yeah, exactly. We're literally able to work our way backwards on what team we could set up for the product, what's going to be the monetization model around it. Like you essentially need to come to us saying, these are the people that want this problem solved. And then we could do everything else on shaping the product around their problem, making sure there's monetization channels around it, making sure it's going to have viral loops and so on and so forth. So that's going to make our job. That the reason we target that is we know how to take a product from A to Z, from the idea of solving that problem into actually a product that solves that problem, and what we need to scratch. And I'm gonna push back and say, no, listen, you don't understand. So
Listen to me, goddamn.
yeah. You could trust us with pushing back on that part. But the main thing is, and you might not even end up working with us, but at the end of the day, if you can have your distribution, you've already gone the majority of the way.
Yep.
To have a product that goes from 0 to 1. And I would argue, as somebody who built a number of products that literally had to go from 0 users to 1 user, going from 0 user to 1 user is a lot harder than going from 1 user to 100 users.
Yep.
So yeah, you've cracked the code if you have that existing distribution, my friend. And whether you end up working with us or not, I think you're in an interesting position.
Man, everyone should. Like the last question for like that revenue, making revenue in day one. Is it a figure of speech, or I mean, there's a lot of process behind it to launch day, right? Like and like the awareness, the interest, the desire, the action funnel into actually converting a user. What's the, or in a general scale, what's the planning once you confirm a client? There's a process before day one, right? I assume, but just wanted to make sure, and for people wondering on the chat as well.
So yeah, the exact way it works is there's the idea, the problem to get solved.
Mhm.
We roughly take 2 weeks to build an MVP for it.
Yep.
It could be different on more complex products. It could go up to 2 months, but generally speaking, the 2 week is the sweet spot to have an MVP out there. Then we get the founders' feedback. It roughly takes us 2 more weeks to iterate on the product based off of the founders' feedback, because they understand the problem they're trying to solve a lot better than we do. We just try to study as much as we can. After that, we take it to a closed beta, meaning we give access to 5 to 10 people to start testing the product. That could be a free access for the first month, for the first year. But we give them a free access, an incentive to use the product and give us feedback. And that's where your initial distribution comes into play. And then later down the line, we convert those people into paying users for the product as well. But after that happens, then we take the product out there to your actual proper distribution and start monetizing the product. And we don't have to have essentially the full funnel of awareness campaigns coming to a landing page, getting sold on the idea, getting converted, putting their money in, and so on and so forth. Of course, that's something that we can build over time. You could even do it the janky way. Send people the Stripe link and say, man, I would just appreciate. Yeah, this is gonna be the product. We haven't built the monetization channels in yet, but I would love to give you access, and you're gonna have 90% 90% promo code for life if you subscribe now to the product. We just want you here with us in the journey. And that typically, I mean, especially if you reach out from the angle of already knowing them and so on and so forth, that's going to convert them. And they're going to be your power users. Yeah, like the first 10 people who use your product, they're going to give you so much feedback and so much insightful feedback with their experience that you're just going to be in a different place. And then you start iterating based off of that and scaling it. So the funnels and actually building something proper where you could put $1 in, take $2 out, could come down the line. When we say revenue on day one, it's not necessarily a figure of speech. These products do have revenue on day one. We just engineer it in a way where we get more feedback first before more dollars first.
Yeah, no, and you plan and you ship and execute very fast and in a very organized manner to get that day one being a success. Getting the results and the outcomes that you guys expect. So makes perfect sense. And there you go, guys. That's the playbook. I mean, try to be what Gaply is doing. Obviously not going to work, but flawless. Incredible. Oh, man.
Yeah, I would I would encourage everybody to start doing a venture studio eventually. I'm quite honest. We definitely want to work with a lot of venture studios, and there's a very big gap of solid ones that we could collaborate with, and that's something that we're seeing as well. But yeah, we're now helping a lot of people create their venture studios, which is a different story. We want to eventually start acquiring startups and distribution channels and literally buying media brands and so on and so forth. That's in the plans. But yeah, if you guys are into venture studios, start one.
Let's go. Yeah, no, I love that that you don't gatekeep anything. Like you're being way more active on socials. Thank God, finally. we all need more of Ray on the timeline, on Twitter, and on streams and podcasts. That you have so much knowledge to share and so much alpha, so much experience. So like the people will find a lot of value from. So love that, and really appreciate you seeing you more everywhere and being on the show, of course. Any last thoughts, any last comments, anything you want to share before we close down today's show?
No, I would just say focus on distribution. Don't get shiny object syndrome. Look back at the distribution you currently have and see what industries you understand, see what problems you understand and how you could solve them, and work your way backwards from there. You could literally work your way backwards from the money that you could generate, instead of building something and then going out and looking for customers for it. So do that, and it's going to be a lot easier of a process. And yeah, I think it's about time people start caring about distribution.
And clipping. So, yeah, so much value as well on clipping. So
yeah, and don't sleep on clipping. Yeah, clipping like that could be your distribution. Go in front of a camera, or go have a chat with somebody. Go reenact a podcast and have 1,000 clips come out of that, or even go on a podcast if you can. Yeah, that's also a good way to do it. I think your podcast is the way you run it is amazing, because there's so much value that comes out of it in such a condensed format that I would argue this is a lot more engaging than a lot of the other podcasts out there, just because there's value left and right that you're extracting off of the people you're having on.
Appreciate it. Yeah, no, I've had some really good guests. I'm very grateful about that. I've had a lot of really good comments about how I run the podcast, and very interactive, very dynamic, visual. And yeah, so I really appreciate everyone that has been around, and you again, obviously running it back here with us. It's been incredible, man. So such a good show today. It's going to be a lot of great clips very soon on the timeline. And yeah, we can run it back again eventually in a few months. So why not? But thank you so much again, man. It's been a pleasure. It's been a great show. We'll definitely run it back again one day.
Hell yeah, it's a pleasure being on and chatting as always. And looking forward to the next time I'm gonna be on.
For sure, man. You'll be the first one 3 times on the show. The honor guest, VIP. Huge shout out to everyone that was here with us. Tulip, Jimiao, Melorog, Spotter, Scorpion. So many of you. Appreciate you for being in the comments, and the ones that were in the Twitter comments as well. Kick, Twitch, Abstract, and YouTube. Thank you, everybody. It's been a hell of a show. Stay tuned for the clips, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.